Hi everybody, I'm Peter from NETGEAR, and today we're going to talk about the top drivers to high-density storage. To set the stage, we can begin with this little interesting fact, that more data was created in the past 2 years than in all of preceding history. And it's not slowing down. So what is high-density storage? High-density storage means having higher capacity in a limited amount of rack space. As an example, you can have a high-density storage product with 60 drive bays in just 4U of rack space, and 4U meaning rack units. And you compare that to the 10U it would take otherwise if you'd went with a non-high density storage product. So what does this all mean for the customer or business who buys and deploys high density storage? Well, to get down to it, it basically means a dramatic space reduction in your server racks. And if you are hosting your storage in a data center co-location, on average, you can save around $75 a month per rack unit. So if you apply that to the example above, that means that you save $450 a month alone on co-location hosting costs, and that's not even factoring in energy or power savings. Here we have the top 10 drivers to high density storage, and what you can see is that everything that can be digitalized is being digitalized. From email to patient records to videos being used in the place of traditional print media. As an example, in the past, if I was a business owner and I'm looking to buy a particular switch or other networking product, I go to the manufacturer website and download a PDF of the data sheet. Well, nowadays, a lot of manufacturers have gone with video data sheets where you can actually, watch somebody talk about the product and present it to you in a more easily digestible way. So we've identified the 5 most important drivers, and I'll go into each and every one of them in the following slides. So the number 1 driver is data growth, basically. Data that's being produced doubles every year. So at the rate that data is growing, by the year 2020, and that's not too far away, data production will be 44 times greater than it was in 2009, which is just 8 years ago. Individuals now create more than 70% of the digital universe, and enterprises are responsible for storing and managing 80% of that. Driver number 2, it's the increased streaming and growing file sizes. So 20 to 25 years ago, it was not uncommon to have file sizes in the kilobytes. A few years after that, megabytes. And now, it's no surprise that a lot of the files that we deal with nowadays, especially video, are counted in the gigabytes. So in terms of video, we've moved to standards like Ultra HD, 4K. We have 3D up and coming, large PowerPoint presentations with media attached to the presentation. You have high resolution video files. Video conferencing and video streaming is now used daily in companies, and with that comes the need to store or archive all of these large video files. Driver number 3 is hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud is an infrastructure that uses a combination of on-premise storage and private or public cloud storage to enable data and application portability. So this hybrid cloud market is really rapidly growing, and it's estimated to grow from $33 billion in 2016 to $91 billion by 2021. And the reason for that is not all data can be sent to the cloud. As a business, would you trust sending sensitive business-related material, patient data to public cloud offerings from, let's say, Google or an Apple, Microsoft, or Dropbox? The answer for some may be yes, but for a majority where this privacy and security is of the utmost importance, the answer is no. And they prefer to have some sort of secure on-premise local storage for the sake of business. Another reason would be, bandwidth limitations. To send everything to the cloud, you would need a really fast internet connection. And sometimes when you're dealing with ultra large file sizes, sending everything to cloud, a public cloud, is just not realistic. Driver number 4 is virtualization and microservices. Application virtualization is rapidly growing today. On one hand, you could do that with virtual machines and hypervisors, or on the other hand, you have containers. What containers do is enable more apps to be stored on the same physical machine. On a very similar note, virtual machines also enable the use of different OSs on one physical machine as well. So the whole point is to virtualize everything, and instead of having a physical server farm, you can replace that with a handful of servers that host all of your applications and workstations. So how does virtual machines and containers tie back into high density storage? Well, each container, each virtual machine, they're a digital file that needs to be stored somewhere. And the more you virtualize, the more storage you'll need. Driver number 5, compliance and security requirements. As we transition to an even more digital world, you now have a lot of compliance and security requirements for public cloud data. And you have HIPAA for healthcare, you have PCI for credit card info, you have SSAE 16 for personal information, and that's not counting all the different local requirements in different countries. Now, a lot of these public cloud data requirements do not apply when you're storing your data locally in your own private cloud. Putting your critical data, in your own private cloud basically means you need to store that in on-premise storage. And when you're dealing with large amounts of data, it would be more beneficial to go with some sort of high-density storage. Thank you very much.